Good afternoon. Today is November 6, 2025, and this is a special council agenda for Development Charges Act, Section 20 complaint hearing. This meeting will be held in person in accordance with Section 238, 3.3 of the Municipal Act, 2001 as amended, and Section 16.6.24 of the City of Woodstock Procedure Bylaw. This meeting will be live streamed to the city's YouTube channel. A recording of this meeting will also be posted on the city website following the meeting. A special meeting of Woodstock City Council is called for the purpose of holding a hearing under the Development Charges Act 1997, SO 1997, C-2070 here, Section 20 complaint. And we do have a counselor attending virtually. So counselors attending virtually will be raising their hands in view of their webcam when moving a motion, requesting to speak, and when a vote is being taken. If a member of council is disconnected or having technical difficulties, we will take a recess in order to attempt to rectify the issue. If technical difficulties exist that prevent the meeting from continuing, the meeting will be adjourned and reconvene at a later time. If a counselor attending virtually needs to leave the meeting at any time, they are to inform the clerk. Okay? We're going to start off with any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll now hold a public hearing of a development charges complaint under the Development Charges Act. Under the Act, a person who is required to pay a development charge may complain to the council of the municipality imposing the development charges. Woodstock City Council will hear a complaint from Christine Swartman and will read CDN Buildings on behalf of Woodstock Enterprise regarding 1358 Dundas Street, Woodstock, Ontario. The process that we will follow for the hearing today will be as follows. Christine Schwartman and Will Reed will have an opportunity to make a statement summarizing their position. Next, we'll have Craig Wallace, Chief Building Official, will provide a statement summarizing the city's position. The representatives from Woodstock Enterprise will have an opportunity to reply to the city's staff position. I will allow city council members to ask any clarifying question after each party speaks. Both parties will then be given an opportunity to make any closing remarks. Then the city council will then deliberate and make a decision on the complaint. In making that decision, city council may either dismiss the complaint or decide that there has been an incorrect determination or error in the application of the DC bylaw and then rectify that error. The decision of this council will then be provided. I will stress that we are not here to have a policy discussion relating to the development charges bylaw, but are only here to consider whether the existing bylaw has been applied properly. Decisions of city council are final and binding, but can be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal. And with that, I'll call on Christine Swartman and Will Reed to provide a summary of their position. Please come forward. Welcome.
Can you hear me okay?
Bring it closer. It doesn't have to be fairly close.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Christine Swartman, and this is my colleague, Will Reed. We represent CDN Buildings, the owner and applicant, Woodstock Enterprise, for the structure located at 1358 Dundas Street. We are here to speak in support of a formal complaint filed under Section 20 of the Development Charges Act regarding the charges assessed on this project. Just to give you a little bit of background, Woodstock Enterprise is a car rental establishment, and the initial development and site plan for 1358 Dundas was completed in 2008. I believe at that time, if development fees were being charged, our client would have paid them in 2008. In January of this year, we applied for a building permit to erect a 42 wide by 71 long steel canopy structure. It is open at both ends with a roof and sidewalls only. During the process, we also had to apply for a site plan amendment. Both the building permit and site plan have approved the structure as an industrial accessory structure. This structure will be erected outside in a parking lot area. The purpose of this being constructed is to provide weather protection for workers as they inspect vehicles prior to being sold. It is not enclosed, not heated, has no plumbing, drainage, or municipal service connections. It was approved under M3-11 General Industrial Zoning and was clearly submitted and approved as an industrial accessory building, not a principal development. The issues we seek is, despite its limited use and accessory status, the city and county have applied non-industrial development charges totaling over 31,800, broken down as follows: 13,787 for county water and sewer, $13,023 for municipal DC charges, development charges, 4,994 for county development charges. These fees were calculated using the non-industrial rate of approximately $110.75 per square meter, applied to the GFA of 287.183 meters square. This has created a situation where we are being charged as if we constructed a fully enclosed commercial building, when in fact we will be building a simple open air shelter with no increased demand on infrastructure. Why we're requesting a review and considering these charges? We believe this charge is not appropriate for several reasons. The zoning, the building was approved under M3-11 industrial, confirming it's an industrial use and accessory function. No water or sewer is going to be connected, yet we've been charged nearly $14,000 for water and sewer services the building does not use. Gross floor area definition. The charge is based on GFA, but this structure lacks end walls, raising question about whether the gross floor area definition should apply under the Ontario Regulation 82/98 definition. There is no increase in traffic, utilities, or public service usage. It does not create growth-related costs that development charges are designed to recover and has no municipal impact. We are respectfully requesting that council use and apply the appropriate rate for an industrial accessory. Perhaps this could be seen as an expansion of the existing. The structure is being used to protect the workers from the outdoor elements as they perform their daily duties outside. We're asking council if they can remove the water and sewer charges entirely, review the gross floor area assessment given the open-end design. Consider partial exemption or credit based on minimal impact and accessory function. We're not trying to avoid fair charges. We simply believe these fees are excessive and not reflective of what will be built.
Thank you. I'll now call on Mr. Wallace, Chief Building Official, to provide a statement summarizing the city's position.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We're here today to provide the background of the DEC complaint for 1358 Dundas Street. I will provide the details and involvement of the building department in the matter of collecting development charges for the issuance of a building permit. Give you some background. 1358 Dundas Street applied for a building permit to construct a 3,100 square foot building. Fees include a building permit fee, development charges, and a damage deposit. The property is zoned M3-11, and the present use is enterprise rent-a-car business. As I mentioned, they're proposing to build a 287.18 square meter building on the site. The development was also subject to site plan control. Site plan application was applied for. Site plan was approved on July 11th, 2025. As mentioned, there's various definitions of an industrial building. In the matter of issuing a building permit, you are regulated under the building code. which is a code on itself authorized by the Building Code Act. Within that, there's various definitions that apply to the building code. You have a zoning bylaw, which is another piece of law, has various definitions in it, and those definitions apply to the zoning bylaw. Like, today, we're discussing the development charges bylaw. It's authorized by the Development Charges Act. Within the act and within the bylaw, there's defined definitions, and those definitions apply to the DC bylaw and the DC Act. I'll bring that up a little bit further in my presentation. So, background on the development charges. So development charges are collected on residential, non-residential, and industrial developments. In our DC bylaw, development charges are imposed subject to Section 2. Development charges shall be calculated and collected in accordance with the provisions of this bylaw and be imposed on land to be developed for residential and non-residential use where the development requires the issuing of a building permit under the Building Code Act 1992, SO 92, as amended in relation to a building or a structure. So development charges are collected at the time of issuance of a building permit. In this case, we have a building permit that's being applied for under the development charges bylaw. This building is considered a non-residential building and subject to the non-residential fees. Again, I'm going to repeat. So DCs are collected through the building permit process and include city and county rates as established through each municipal bylaw. The city has one DC bylaw and the county has two DC bylaws that are applicable to the city of Woodstock. The DCs in total are collected by the city and the county portion is handed over through our treasury department once payment is received. Calculation of the DC. So the proposed construction is of a new steel-framed and steel-clad carport building for the maintenance of rental automobiles. This is described in the building permit process. The information supplied to our DC bylaw, and it's considered to be a non-residential building. The fee is calculated upon the total area of the proposed building. Within our DC bylaw, we have a definition of the total area. Total floor area means the sum total of the total areas of all floor areas in a building or structure, whether at above or below grade, measured between the exterior faces of the exterior walls of the building or structure or from the center line of a common wall, separating two uses from the outside edge of a floor where the outside edge of the floor does not meet an exterior or common wall, and includes the floor area of a mezzanine, atrium, or air-supported structure and the space occupied by an interior wall partitions. And where a building or structure does not have any walls, the total floor area of the building or structure shall be the total of the area of all floors, including the ground floor that are directly beneath the roof of the building or structure. Conclusion. Based on the provisions of our development charges bylaws, the development charge has been calculated accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now call again on Christine Schwartman and Will Reed, if you'd like to reply to any of the city's position, if you'd like to make other further comments or questions at this time.
Thank you. I do have a couple of responses based on Mr. Wallace's comments. In reference to his comment regarding the non-residential rate applying, there was also reference made to the fact that there are industrial classifications within this. Now, our argument is not necessarily the existence of the development charge, but it's towards the classification and the weight of which has been applied to our charges. What we would like to argue against or clarify would be the industrial rate rather than a non-residential rate, which in terms of our interpretation would classify more towards commercial projects, other projects of more intricate involvement in terms of on the building. And also regarding the comment about classification of gross floor area being the floor area underneath the roof. With regards to our building and our application, we are providing a roof structure supported on posts over the existing asphalt parking lot. We are not proposing a construction of a floor structure or a floor slab within the boundaries of this building. And that will conclude my my comments.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I'll ask that you stay up if you don't mind just for a
Okay.
minute. I'm gonna open this up to city council now to see if they have any questions of the applicants in this scenario. And then I'll ask Craig to come up as well next, if that's all right. Counselor Schadenberg.
Yeah, from the mayor through to our delegation. I caught the number as being $14,000 to be the charge in DCs based on water and sewer. And then you're saying you're not hooking up the water and sewer. Would that be sort of the minimum? I'm just trying, maybe I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but would that be the minimum number you would want deducted from the overall DC charges, which I understand were over $31,000? I'm just trying to understand what exactly specifically, not that we're mediating here, but what specifically is something that you would think would be more fair or accurate as far as a dollar amount goes.
Yes, I believe removing the water and sewer charges for sure, as there is nothing being, it's not being connected to any services there. So being charged $14,000 for DC development charges for water and sewer really don't seem appropriate in our situation.
Thank you. Counselor Tate.
Through the chair, just to clarify, so we can't waive that, that's a county issue, so you are taking that to the county to appeal that also?
Correct. I have applied both to the
Yep.
county as well to deal with their portion of them.
Yeah, I was gonna state that as well. Of course, we are talking about three different development charges, two of them being county specific, and one being the city specific. City of Woodstock collects all the DC charges, but again, then we just submit to the county for whatever their DC charges are. So I think this will have to come in front of county if decided.
And correct, I have
yes.
applied to both, so now I'm just waiting on Oxford County, because I think maybe they're running into the same situation as what happened here.
Mhm.
Because at first it was supposed to just be a delegation at a meeting, and then I was informed, no, it has to be an actual special meeting, so I think same thing's happening with Oxford right now.
Yeah. Yep. Any other questions from council for the applicants? Okay, I guess I do have just a clarifying question. It seems pretty clear to me in the city's bylaws that it specifically states under a roof. So I'm assuming there's no argument here, under the roof line would be the 287.183 meters squared, that is accurate. Even though you mentioned not building a base, I realize this is on a concrete, but as the bylaws state right now, very clearly, anything under the roof would be considered that footprint. That is correct? That is correct measurement?
Correct, the measurement's correct. I think the issue more is what about the gross floor area and the way it's determined because of it being
Sure.
an open-ended structure.
Yep, no, I understand. Okay, yeah, thank you. Anyone else before I ask Mr. Wallace to come back up to see if anyone has questions? See Liz with anything? Okay, please, thank you. Mr. Wallace, I'd ask you come forward and then I'll open up first. If you'd like to make any comments to the questions raised first, and then we'll ask council about the non-residential or industrial rates, as well as the gross floor areas, assuming this is correct understanding.
Mayor and council, I will try to provide some information on the 2 points that were raised. I think the one question was, can this development be considered industrial? So again, when we refer to our development charges bylaw, there's various definitions. These definitions would apply to the calculation of the development charges. So industrial is defined in our bylaw. Industrial building means a building used for or in connection with manufacturing, producing, processing, storing, or distributing something. Research or development in connection with manufacturing, producing, or processing something. Retail sales by a manufacturer, producer, or processor of something they manufactured, produced, or processed. If the retail sales are at the site where the manufacturing, production, or processing takes place. Office or administrative purposes if they are carried out with respect to manufacturing, producing, processing, storage, or distributing of something, and attached or located upon the same property to the building or structure used for that manufacturing, producing, processing, storage, or distribution. Back to the actual building itself. The proposed construction of a new steel framed and steel clad carport for the maintenance of rental automobiles. It's our opinion that it's not an industrial use, it's a non-residential use. And I think the other point that was raised was referred to gross floor area, total floor area, as I think our definition is very clear that total floor area means and includes where a building or structure does not have walls. The total floor area of the building or structure shall be the total of the area of all floors, including the ground floor, that are directly beneath the roof. Whether the floor is asphalt or concrete, it's still considered a floor.
Right, thank you for that clarification. I'll open up to council now. Councillor Shanberg.
Yeah, from the chair through to Mr. Wallace. I guess my best question is defining what the difference for the rates are per square foot, for example, or per square meter for development charges when you're comparing non-residential with industrial. Is there a significant difference between the two, depending on what umbrella these fall under?
I'll compare the rates that would be charged to this application. Rates, the calculation or the timing of the rates are tied into the site plan application, so they're always changing. So this specific application would be tied into the rates as of April 1st, 2025. So Again, it's confusing because we have city rates, or we have the city rate plus the two county rates. So I can give you the total difference. So, but for all three development charges, the non-industrial or the non-residential rate would be $110.75 per square meters. And the industrial rate would be $91.25 per square meter.
Any other questions? Counselor Martin?
Just to follow up on that, that was the fully loaded development charge cost. That was the city portion plus the two county portions.
Through your worship, yes, that is correct.
Can you break out for me just the city portion? Because I think the other two have to be dealt in a different
Yeah.
audience.
So the city portion, the non-industrial rate, the non-residential rate, the commercial rate, if you want to call it, would be $45.35 a square meter. And for an industrial building, it would be $25.85 a square meter.
Good. Anyone else? Seeing none? Well, at this time, I'll call on Christine Swartman and Will Reed to make any closing remarks, if you wish, before decisions are made.
So, in terms of, closing remarks for this, I, just have a question or a clarification that I would wish to seek based on, what was just mentioned. If we are still being considered a non-residential rate, where my question comes in is with our application for building permit and site plan being under industrial use, with our building usage being accessory to the existing usage on the site being industrial, as is classified for a car rental establishment. How do we go from industrial to the non-residential usage charges for this project? I just want to make sure I'm perfectly clear on the application of these charges as applicable to the project, whether it be the non-residential or whether it be the industrial rate.
Do you want to answer that, or Mr. Wallace? Come forward.
Your worship, I think I can maybe take a shot at the answer to that. You can have an industrial zone under the zoning bylaw that includes a list of permitted uses that will include industrial uses, manufacturing, processing, but it will also include a variety of commercial uses. So the zoning bylaw designation, when it is industrial, doesn't mean it's exclusively industrial uses. Zoning bylaws will include things that are defined and determined to be commercial uses when you move into considerations under the Development Charges Act, Development Charges Bylaws, and under the Ontario Building Code. So you will find situations where you'll be in an industrial zone with a use, but when you move to these other statutes, these other provincial statutes, whether it's the DC or the Ontario Building Code, and once you're done, the Ontario Fire Code, you will be classified differently under those because they all have different definitions of what constitutes commercial, what constitutes industrial. And the way in which those buildings are built are all determined on those classifications. So you can't take a municipal zoning bylaw distinction of what the use is and carry it through the full spectrum of actual statutes and laws that apply to that particular proposed development. And so that's what we have here. You have an industrial zone, but that industrial zone permits a wide variety of uses that extends beyond just industrial.
Okay.
Continue.
I guess the only thing I'd like to add to that, and I think you guys were given all the stuff that I had submitted with that, and you'll have with you the site plan application approval. If you read it, it says it's an industrial accessory building approval. So just with what you're saying there, the difference. But other than that, in closing, I would just like to say, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to bring these concerns forward and look forward to working together with you on a fair solution. We are happy to answer any other questions you have from council and provide any other documentation you may need. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much. And I'd ask Mr. Wallace if you have any closing remarks or would like to leave with anything else before council debates this.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, any other further questions of Mr. Wallace before I let him off the hook yet? No? Okay. Well, city council may now deliberate and make a decision on the complaint. I remind members of council that in making a decision, council may dismiss the complaint or decide that there's been an incorrect determination or error in the application of the DC bylaw, and then rectify that error by identifying an amount to be refunded to Woodstock Enterprise. And with that, I'd like to open it up. Who would like to start the discussion? Counselor Martin.
So just discussion, you don't want a motion on the floor and then
We
debate?
can have a motion as well, but. Want a motion?
Okay. I'll make a motion, that the complaint submitted by Woodstock Enterprise regarding the development charges imposed by the city of Woodstock for its development located at 1358 Dundas Street, as heard by Woodstock City Council during the hearing held on November 6, 2025, be dismissed.
Is there a seconder on that? Counselor Leatherborough? Discussions, questions, Counselor Martin?
Yeah, I think for me, the requests that were made to us, there are a couple of requests that just aren't under our jurisdiction. The water and water and sewer charges will have to be dealt with separately. I appreciate for the applicant, it all appears to be one piece, but these are separate development charges. And as I've heard today, the gross floor calculation appears to be accurate. The non-residential use has been explained to me, and that the city portion rate of $45.35 seems to be the appropriate calculation based on what has been presented to us.
Thank you. A seconder, would you like any comments? Yeah. No. Any other further discussion or questions? Nothing online, just making sure. She got awfully small up there, so just want to make sure there wasn't a hand. If nothing further, before I call a vote, I'm gonna actually agree with Counselor Martin on this. I think this is a tough one. This is one of the issues of our two-tier system where sure, we collect it all, but yet we are not the ones putting the charges into effect. So I'm welcome to the fact to hear this going to county council for their discussion as being the bulk of the charges being laid. But I also agree that I think it's very clearly defined what's considered a structure, has nothing to do with the base at all. And as long as those measurements are accurate, which I asked, I think they are a fair charge on the city's behalf anyways. So, Counselor Schanberg.
Yeah, maybe this question is through to the treasury, through to the mayor. Has the full amount that was requested been paid so they could get a building permit? Or is the building permit not gonna be issued until they do give the agreed upon amount? Just curious as to what stage we are at that, if the city's treasury has received any money whatsoever for the building permit. The 3 level, the building permit, you can call it that for enterprise auto.
Through the mayor to the counselor, none of the DC charges have been paid.
That was my understanding as well. Yep. Any other, sorry?
I just wanted to make sure that they're not here basically asking for a rebate on the portion of something they've already paid. And if they haven't paid it yet, then I would certainly agree with the motion that's on the floor.
Thank you. Anyone further before I call the vote? Liz, just making sure. That, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Against? That is carried. So we have dismissed it as here, and then look forward to hearing how you make out at county council if you bring that forward.
This is also appealable to Ontario Land Tribunal, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. In accordance with section 21(1) of the Development Charges Act, the city clerk will mail a notice of city council's decision to the complainant. The complainant may appeal the decision of Woodstock City Council to the Ontario Land Tribunal by filing with the city clerk on or before the last day for appealing the decision, a notice of appeal setting out the reasons for the appeal. And with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Counselor Tate, second by Counselor Leatherborough. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. We do have our regular scheduled meeting in 23 minutes, so we'll see you back here. Thank you.